Please welcome to the stage the president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, a Presidential Medal of Freedom winner, and the civil rights leader who, along with Cesar Chavez, co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, Dolores Huerta.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really wonderful to be here. And we're all here, of course, to celebrate the victories, but we know that we still have a lot of work to do ahead of us. And I want to thank all of you who are out there on the front lines, making sure that we get justice and that we get equality and that we can end discrimination and all of us be treated in a fair and a just manner. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. But tonight I'm here. I have a very special honor here tonight because I'm going to be introducing someone that is very, very dear to our community. And this is a person, and some of you may know him, George Takei. Some people may know him as Sulu in that very, very acclaimed television series, Star Trek, right? Remember that? And for some of you that don't know about Star Trek, you may know him by Facebook or by Twitter. But we know that he's a very great human being. And you know, when he was a youngster, he, like many other Japanese Americans, were in internment camps. And that's where he spent a great deal of his childhood. But that did not deter him to come forward and then become a very great actor, which he has been for 5 decades. And when Governor Schwarzenegger, he vetoed the equality marriage bill in the California state legislature, well, George said, you know what? We're not going to let it stay that way. He came out and he started advocating for gay and lesbian and transgender rights, and that's what he's been doing every single time, every moment of his life since that happened. He is married now to his partner, Brad, his partner of 21 years. So we are very fortunate to have someone like George Takei, because it was not easy for him, being an Asian American, to be able to come out and be the leader that he has been in terms of equality rights and equality marriage. So I want all of us to, I'm going to ask everybody, let's look at this video now that tells the story of George Takei.
I'm George Takei. I'm a person, a Trekkie, and a bow tie enthusiast. I need to talk to you about something very important: marriage equality. The word coming out suggests you open a door and you step out and the world changes. It's not like that. As an actor, you know, I had that concern about me being fully out. I felt like I needed to make some life decisions. And it's important that I be an active participant in this.
There's a sense of loyalty to the men and women you serve with. A sense of family.
We're joined now by one of the country's most well-known champions of gay rights, the legendary actor and activist, George Takei.
So-called religious freedom is just a cloak for prejudice.
You either leave this war bloodied or with my blood on your swords.
I thought that I would never have marriage in my life.
You're legally married now, then?
Legally married, yes. September 14th. A day we'll never forget. Cloud 9 isn't high enough. Cloud 90, I think.
Those 2 men on trial, I owe them my life 12 times over. And right now they're in trouble, and I'm going to help them. Let the regulations be damned.
The recent suicides of LGBT youths across the country from anti-gay bullying compels me to speak out again. I'm here to tell all LGBT youth that I am here for you. In fact, I'm lending my name to the cause. Anytime you need to say the word gay, you can simply say Takei. Even homophobic slurs don't seem as hurtful if someone says, "That is so Takei."
You are the most active person on Facebook with your 6 million followers, but it is astounding your activity there.
Let's welcome George Takei.
I can't tell you how glad I am to be here with all of you. You know, I moved heaven and earth to be with you all tonight. I was in New York yesterday. I had 2 meetings, which I canceled, and I got on a plane in a snow flurry and flew all day and got here last night. Because there is no way that I'm going to be flying on Friday the 13th of February. Don't people know that I'm superstitious? But I am grateful and happy to be with all of you here because you are all working on our campaign, the Human Rights Campaign. And you as youth professionals serving young people and giving guidance to them, it's very important work. And I appreciate the work that you're doing. And it's all of us, each with our own independent capabilities and talents and mission, working together in concert collectively, that is making change happen in this country. And remarkable change has been happening. In just a year and a half since that Supreme Court ruling came down in June of 2013, 37 states now have marriage equality. Amazing. But we still have reminders of the challenges that we face, because just a few days ago, the Chief Justice of Alabama's Supreme Court, yes, despite the fact that a federal district court judge ruled that their ban on marriage equality is unconstitutional, he ordered all the probate judges in Alabama to stop issuing any marriage licenses just to keep LGBT people from getting marriage licenses. It is an echo from 50 years ago when the governor of Alabama, George Wallace, stood in the schoolhouse doorway to defy the federal ruling that there must be integration of our educational system. George Wallace failed. It was a losing stance that he took, and Chief Justice Moore is going to fail as history. We have a great country. We have a great history, but it's also a flawed history. When this nation was born, it was born out of the spirit of independence, declaring independence against the tyranny of Britain. But despite those shining ideals, the ideal that we had, that our country's forefather articulated, all men are created equal, endowed with an inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These same founding fathers, great men, wise men, kept other human beings as slaves. Their wives, daughters, and their mothers had no rights. They couldn't vote. They couldn't own property. They didn't even have rights over their own children. And yet, because determined women and fair-minded men challenged and debated and marched that women now have equality, because those slaves hungered for freedom and justice, and they acted on it, they struggled, that we had to fight a terrible, bloody civil war, which eliminated slavery, but not the problem. Jim Crow years still persisted, and the civil rights movement came. And there's a movie out currently, Selma, which I recommend to everybody here. Deeply moving story of our American history. I know something about our flawed American history because when I was a boy, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and plunged the world into a Second World War. And because of that, over 120,000 Americans of Japanese ancestry were summarily rounded up with no charges, no trial, no due process, and put into 10 barbed wire prison camps in some of the most god-awful places in this country. I was one of them. I remember those barbed wire fences, those tall sentry towers with machine guns pointed at us. We have a deeply flawed history. But because throughout history, there were people like you, like us, who believed in the best ideals of our system, and we worked for it, that we brought about change and made this a better society, made our country a better America, made our democracy a truer democracy. And that's why we're all gathered here today, because we're concerned not only about our time today, but about the future of American society and the future of young people. And I particularly love young straight couples because they're going to be making the gay babies of tomorrow. And we want to leave a better society for them by changing our society today to make their lives better in the future. Make America a better country in the future. And so I thank you all. This is truly our time to thrive. And thank you all for the work that you're doing, individually, but all of us working collectively to make this a better society. It is our time to thrive. Thank you all very much. Live long and prosper.